I was looking for it, and she said she gave it to me. And I said, well, it was not under the tax.
She gave me this was in my box.
Yeah, so I've been looking for it in here. That's the reason I'm here.
Agenda.
Let me ask you this. Here, see, send it.
We don't have a copy of it.
This is the same thing here.
But it's printed different. You ready? Oh, it's got everyone. What's wrong?
Who we missed? What's wrong? You got to know where Sean is?
I've had too much coffee.
Is that, where's that? Is that corporate quarters?
Check.
Yeah.
No, that's the song of life. But then, they have security out there. It was an ad, and it wasn't on my phone. Senior citizens.
Buying trash cans for,
That's
who's going to change?
I think the senior citizens.
This is the,
I want to welcome everyone here tonight. Call this meeting order. I also like to recognize Mayor Randy Tankersley from Possible for being here tonight. Thank you, sir. At this time, let's stand. Reverend Darrell Cobbs will be giving the invocation.
Let us pray. O Lord God, you are a God of order and justice. And so you are pleased when people govern and are governed according to your will. We humbly ask you in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus to bless Russellville and all its inhabitants. Give your guidance to those that are in authority. Keep them mindful of their sacred trust in public office. Grant them wisdom for their difficult tasks. Provide them with a sense of honesty and decency, a spirit of humility and service, and also a sensitivity to the needs of all the folks that reside here. O Lord, give to all who live here a grateful heart for the advantages that we enjoy, a ready obedience to our laws, and a concern for the rights and privileges of every citizen. Protect our city from all calamities of fire, wind, rain, or drought, and from all disease. O Lord, we pray for all these things according to your Son's name, even Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Place the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. City Clerk, Eunice Skelton, will you do the roll call, please?
Ms. Caruth,
Here.
Mr. Harris,
Here.
Mr. Tripp,
Here.
Mr. Olson,
Here.
Mr. Harold,
Here.
Mr. Westcott,
Here.
Mr. Brown,
here.
Mr. Keller,
Here.
Mayor Harris,
Here.
Trey Smith. You have a quorum.
Thank you. First item is approval of minutes. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
A motion from Mr. Westcott.
Second.
Second, Mr. Keller. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Holstein, will you provide us the financial report this evening, please?
April revenues for the general fund was $1,377,946, 3.09% above year-to-date projections. Tax receipts were $712,847. Finance fees and permits were $478,318. City and county sales tax for 2018 year-to-date, we had collected $1,398,859. For the county, we had collected $1,628,430. In 2019 year-to-date, we have collected $1,448,054 for the city and $1,577,350 for the county. That's a decrease from last year of $9,085. Year-to-date for the budget, we've collected, the budget is, for the city, is $1,426,667. We've collected $1,440,854. For the county, budget is $1,600,000. We've collected $1,577,350. April expenditures for the general fund was $1,109,712. That's 1.11% above year-to-date projections. $194,198 year-to-date more expended than received. Street revenues for April was $156,133, 1.12% below year-to-date projections. Sales tax receipts were $507,329. 1/2 cent road tax was $54,823. Current balance in the 1/2 cent road tax is $947,500. April expenditures for the street fund was $228,765. That's 16.69% below year-to-date projections. Sales tax improvements was $252,749 for Inglewood, Drainage, Waterworks Road, and Glenwood. Economic Development Fund revenues for April was $42,217. New sales tax was $40,217. Interest was $2,000. Expenditures was $6,509 for the Arkansas Valley Alliance. The balances for the various economic development funds for the 2003 fund is $1,479,647. 2007 funds is $1,210,993. The 2014 fund is $581,278. Capital revenues for April was $96,647. New sales tax was $80,433. Parks, $15,487. Interest was $726. April expenditures were $105,369. $80,433 for the city corp. $13,854 for City Hall, $11,082 for the fire department. Any questions?
Any questions from Ms. Holstein? Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the next item, which will be the mayor's report. I'd first like to recognize one of our battalion chiefs, Mr. Chris Vick, who recently graduated from the Executive Fire Officer Program of the National Fire Academy last Friday. There are very few executive fire officer graduates nationwide, and even fewer in Arkansas. This is a labor and academic intensive 4-year program which Chief Vick completed in 2 years with recognition from the program administrators for his excellence. Mr. Vick, would you stand, please? I'd like to give Mr. Vick a round of applause. We appreciate our firefighters, and especially when they do outstanding work and outstanding job. Thank you. The next item on the mayor's report is reappointment of Jim Horton to the Civil Service Commission. Jim Horton is a native of Russell. He served 19 months in Vietnam, assigned to the Signet Corps. He returned to Russell afterwards and to his job in Russell as fire department. He retired from the Russell Fire Department in the rank of Assistant Chief in December of 1987, and where he went to work full-time for Hacks Cleaners Delivery. He volunteers at the local library and serves as a member of the Fire Pension Board as well as the Russellville Civil Service Commission, and does belong to the American Legion and DAV. I want to nominate Mr. Horton to the Civil Service Commission, a reappointment to the Civil Service Commission. Mr. Horton, please stand up so we can recognize you. Thank you. So I make. So as mayor, I nominate Mr. Horton as a reappointment to the Civil Service Commission.
Motion to approve.
Motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, can I make a presentation to you?
How long's your presentation? We've got a large agenda tonight, Miss.
I'm just gonna hand it to you.
Okay. Oh, a presentation to me. I thought you were in a presentation. Sure, certainly.
That's a history of Russellville and the fire department.
Well, thank you. I'll make sure that, thank you, sir.
You bet.
I'll make sure that the chief gets this and
I think
look it
you
over.
got it.
Okay, well, appreciate you. Item number 2 is confirmation of Justin Cochran as a member of the Planning Commission to serve on the Board of Adjustment. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. And a second from Mr. Harris, is that right? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3 is a presentation from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Those who are currently signed to the Arkansas Nuclear 1 Generation Station, they want to make a brief presentation to the Russellville City Council regarding an overview of what the NRC's role is at the Arkansas Nuclear 1 and the results of the NRC's assessment of the station's performance over the last year. Okay. Thanks, sir. And if you want to, I was going to say, if you want to step up to the mic there so that people on television can hear what you have to say, we'd certainly appreciate it.
All right, good evening, everybody. We are the resident inspectors at Arkansas Nuclear 1. I'm Chris Henderson, the senior resident inspector.
Tim Devane. I'm Tom Sullivan.
And they're the residents, and also we have Amy Elam, who's our site admin assistant for A&O, and also she has Cooper Nuclear Station and Grand Gulf. All right. So quick overview, we're just gonna give you what our mission is, overall objectives, quick history, overview of the reactor oversight process where we assess plant performance, and then we'll close, and then offer any questions will also be available afterwards for questions also. All right, our mission. There's our mission statement. I'm going to sum it up real quick. We're here to protect the health and safety of the public to ensure safe operation of nuclear power throughout the United States. Specifically, our president is over Arkansas Nuclear 1. So we regulate nuclear reactors, commercial reactors, research and test reactor, new reactor designs, nuclear materials, so the fuel, radiomaterials for medical, industrial, and academic use, nuclear waste, so the transportation, storage, disposal, and decommissioning of nuclear facilities, and then the next part is nuclear security, so the physical security of the station itself and materials for storage from sabotage and attacks. So what we don't do, which then at this point, we don't regulate nuclear weapons, artillery, or space vehicles. Those are regulated by other federal agencies. We don't own or operate plants, and regulate some reactive materials such as natural current material, X-rays, and that sort. And then I'm going to turn over to Mr. Sullivan.
Okay, so the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission was first established in 1974. We refer to it as
So
an agency.
could I get you to step up to the mic? Because people at home will not be able to hear you otherwise.
all right.
Thank you very much.
Sure. So the Nuclear Regulatory Commission was established in 1974, and we collectively call it the agency. But it's headed by 5 commissioners right now. Stephen Burns, he just recently retired. He was the chairman of the commission. I think this month he's retiring. But there's 4 other commissioners: Christine Zvinicki, David Wright, Annie Caputo, and Jeff Barron. So there's 4 commissioners right now, but there's one opening right now. That was the next slide. So the agency, the NRC, has about 3,500 people, and they're in 5 different locations, major locations. First and foremost is headquarters in Washington DC, which is actually Rockville, Maryland. Region 1 is in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, right next to Valley Forge. Region 2 is in Atlanta, Georgia. Region 3 is in Lisle, Illinois, near Chicago. And Region 4 is in Arlington, Texas, right in the DFW Metroplex area. Enter. Okay. So there's about 100 operating nuclear power plants in the United States right now, and here's a broad brushstroke of where their locations are, and of course, Region 4 is where Arkansas Nuclear One is in Russellville, and then in the blue there, and that's all the blue represents Region 4 plants. Next. So what do resident inspectors do? We all live in the community. Chris lives in Conway. I live in Russellville up in Carrying Crow Mountain, and Tim lives here in town in Russellville. So we live we're your neighbors. We live in the area. So we drive to the plant just like everybody else. We're badged to go to the plant. We have to go through the search train just like everybody else. When we go to when we first arrive, what we basically do is collect data. We look at operator logs. We look at any condition reports that are written from the previous 24 hours. And once we collect a certain amount, we look at status reports. And once we've done that, we'll actually go to the control rooms, units 1 and 2 control rooms, and get status from the operators in the control rooms. And once we're done that, we will report to our regional headquarters and give them a status of A&O 1 and 2. We also participate in meetings with the licensee, Arkansas Nuclear, at various times of the day. There's status meetings, there are ops focus meetings, there are PRG meetings, and we meet with their engineering and maintenance and operations staff, as well as upper management. Let's see, what else is next?
At that point, we're going to go ahead and
Go to
turn
Tim.
over to Tim DeBay, and he'll go over the reactor oversight process.
Okay, good evening. I am the newest person on the team here. I'm not the youngest, you probably recognize that. But I've been in the Russellville area a couple of months now, and I'm very pleased to be here. So the reactor oversight process is a process that the NRC started using in about 2000, developed in 1999. And it's a way that the NRC can inspect, assess, and evaluate the performance of the reactor facilities in an objective and consistent method across the country. So there are the strategic performance areas that we start with, and those are reactor safety, radiation safety, and security. And then those go down into what we call the cornerstones, which are listed there, and I won't go through all of those. But then we look at 2 different ways of collecting information about the plants, and one of those is doing inspections. So we go out in the plant and we observe things, we look at information, we speak to the licensee and get details for our inspections. And then we also look at what we call performance indicators. So these are things like how often the plant would have a shutdown that was not a planned shutdown and that sort of thing. So these all feed into the evaluation, what we call the action matrix. And our response would be determined from that. So the action matrix will give us a value that will determine what column the performance of the plant is. And we're talking about performance of the plant, we're talking about safety performance, not performance as indicated by how well they're producing electricity. We don't evaluate that. We're really looking just at safety of the plant. So column 1, which is what we call licensee response, is the best performance category that we have, and column 5 is the worst performance category that we have. So by going through the reactor oversight process, we'll come up with an indication of where the plant fits in this evaluation. So increasing safety significance goes from 1 to 5, and increasing inspection effort also goes from 1 to 5. So if you move up to column 2 or 3, you're going to get more inspections from us. And some of you may know that A&O was in column 4 a year ago, and now they're in column 1. So there's been a big improvement that has allowed that change to occur. And then if you go to the NRC's website, you can find pages that look like this. This is for A&O Unit 1. There's a similar one for A&O Unit 2. And I apologize for the size of the font, but I couldn't get them all on here if I blew it up. But you can go on the NRC's website, www.nrc.gov, and find all this information. The green color means green, that's good. And then in the lower right, under the inspection findings, the gray actually mean that's best. That's actually better than green. And that means we didn't find any problems. And in this case, it talks about findings, and findings for us have a very special meaning. Findings mean to us that there was a performance deficiency. So a green finding is a very low safety significance. And then it would get colors that go from white, yellow, and red, which are increasingly worse. So you can go on the website to find this information. We put a high priority on keeping the public and stakeholders informed of what's going on at the plants. You know, you're always free to call us, go to the website. There's an awful lot of information on the website, and it can be difficult maybe finding that information, but if you contact us or people in the region or even headquarters, we can help you find that information.
Our contact information is up here. 817-200-1920 is the main office number. You can reach all of us. If you can't, you can always leave a message if you have any questions or anything about what we do or anything about A&O. And then I'll open up for any quick questions. If not, we'll be available afterwards for questions.
Yeah, I would ask that if there are any questions from the NRC, that you take them outside so we could proceed on with our, does the council have any questions for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Okay, at this time, we'll move on to department reports. Our Community Development Code Enforcement, Mr. Holstein.
Good evening, council, mayor, citizens. Thank you for allowing me time to do my report. I've condensed my report based on the May agenda for the city council and all the signatures to speak tonight. But I do think it's important for the city to know where our development's at. And I would like to start with our community department development report. And I will start with, for the first 4 months, we have issued 62 residential building permits at a cost of $11,336.16 revenue. Our commercial building permits at 34 for the first 4 months at $32,843.04 revenue. The total cost, estimated cost, which is very good at this point, 4 months in, for total cost of construction is $19,521,632. Our electrical permits are at 79 for the first 4 months, and a fee collected at $3,105.50. Our HVAC, heating and air conditioning, is at 47 for the first 4 months with a revenue of $1,475. Plumbing permits have come in at the first 4 months at 57 with a revenue of $2,042. With the total inspections of 381. Plan reviews are at 13 reviews at a revenue of $1,350. Demo permitting at 8 demo permits at $800. With a total revenue year-to-date for the first quarter at $52,420.43. I'd like to move on to my new businesses in the city of Russellville. City of Russellville right now has approximately around 1,200 businesses in the city of Russellville. The first 4 months, we gained 46 new businesses in the city of Russellville, with a total revenue fee of $48,510.54. I would like to move on to code enforcement. Our code enforcement department, we like to be able to tell you where we're at in code enforcement, what we do in code enforcement. We enforce the code, the zoning violations and it's within the city to promote a cleaner and a healthier and a safer city. So what we do is we go out and we patrol the streets, basically in our wards. And what we do is I come up with the counts and the numbers for exactly what we do in the field. So basically when we're in the field, we look at abandoned properties. We've submitted 4 for this month, abandoned properties, and we've closed 4 cases. Building permit violations, we've had 13 and we've closed 11. Excessive high weeds and grass vines, we've opened 35 cases and closed 32. Grass, trash on properties, we've opened 13 cases and closed 7. Improper vehicles, we've opened 23 cases and closed 22. Junk on property is at 57 cases and 54 closed. Odor complaints at 4 and closed 3. Other code enforcement issues at 12 and closed 9. Property maintenance at 16 and closed 11. We also have a yard debris sweep to curbs that we have to deal with. We've opened 4 cases and closed 3. And miscellaneous zoning violations, we've had 38 and closed 26, with a total open cases of 236 cases and closed 202 cases. Like I said, I was going to be short because we have a long agenda tonight, but I would entertain any questions if anybody has questions for me.
Does the council have any questions, Mr. Holstein?
Thank you.
Thank you. Committee reports. I will turn it over to the Finance Committee Chairman, Mr. Westcott.
Thank you, Mayor. Last Tuesday, the Finance and Property Committee met, discussed, and recommends to the full council the following items. Number 1 is an appropriation from the Administrative Department in the amount of $14,285.50 so we can pay our taxes. And we present that in the form of a motion.
I have a motion for appropriation on item number 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Items number 2 and 3 combined. Number 2 was a resolution regarding the upcoming Russellville downtown construction with Citicorp, and number 3 is the appropriation for that item in the amount of $101,400, and we present that in the form of a motion.
I have a motion on items 2 and 3 combined for appropriation of $101,400. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Items number 4 and 5 together. Resolutions authorizing the mayor and city clerk treasurer to execute all necessary paperwork to sell city-owned property and for other purposes. And we present those in the form of a motion.
I have a motion on item number 4 for sale of fire engine number 5. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Items number 6 and 7 combined. The resolution relating to the retirement plan of the city clerk treasurer, and item number 7 with that is the appropriation in the amount of $4,542.54, and we present that in the form of a motion.
I have a motion on the resolution and appropriation of $4,542.54. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 8 is an appropriation from the street fund for the Inglewood project in the amount of $374.69, and we present that in the form of a motion.
I have a motion on item number 8 for an appropriation. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 9 is discussion and consideration of a resolution to send out for bidding regarding the solid waste trash contract, which we have in front of us this evening.
And I will apologize, this resolution number 9, if you'll excuse me, Mr. Chair. was submitted last minute. It was sent out, the bid spec was sent out earlier for the council review. The resolution was late getting to you. I do apologize for that late delivery.
We still do present that in the form of a motion unless someone on the Finance Committee sees fit to table that for a later meeting.
Hearing no,
Mayor, may I ask, Mr. Smith, in your opinion, is this document ready to go?
I mean, I've worked as best as I can. I look back 5 years ago, and we sent out for bid once the agreement for the solid waste was completed. I don't know, and maybe it's put to rest, the discount for senior citizens or purchasing the carts, but anything you do on that will affect the bid price. And also, I don't know what's going to be about the landfill fee as well, but if everything's done, then it could possibly go out, but if the agreement still needs to be worked on, then that's going to be part of the bid packet as well. It was 5 years ago.
Explain to me the landfill fee.
It's just, I think that's going to be something that there's going to be a discrepancy between the haulers based upon what they're charged versus who owns the landfill.
I think some of the issues has to do with multi-hauler versus single hauler. And I believe we resolved that issue in the current bid spec. We are going out for bid for a single hauler. And it's my expectation, based on the bid spec, that they will be responsible for any fees or landfill issues that they have as part of their bid specification.
Great.
Mr. Smith, do you concur with what the mayor said as far as how the language is written in this?
I don't have any problem with the language, no. If the senior citizen discount has been resolved and the buying of the carts to supply the hauler is resolved, then it should be ready.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, I do have, I had approximately 3 haulers, single haulers, that contacted me that were willing to bid on this contract. Yes. Okay, I do have item number 9 presented in the form of a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Mayor, hold on, I have
Yes.
more discussion.
Sir.
So what is the timeline of this bid? When is it due back?
Well, when is the contract?
I believe it is included in the bid spec. I'll have to open up the bid spec to see what the date on that is. Mr. Tripp. The date for
June 28th.
submitting the bids, receiving the bids back, evaluating, and making selections all identified within the spec. What the version you have in front of you is the track changes that was used when we modified the original bid spec. We'll clean that up before we send it out.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 10 is a resolution changing the name on the city's bank accounts, credit cards, to remove the name of the former finance director and for other purposes, and we present that in the form of a motion.
I have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 11 is a consideration of approval for the police department to purchase hard body armor in the amount of $14,454.59. The money is already in the police department's yearly budget, and we present that in the form of a motion.
I have a motion on the floor to purchase hard body armor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
This evening, the Finance and Property Committee met, discussed, and brings to the council the following items. Item number 1 is a consideration for the approval of the February invoices from the Arkansas Alliance for Economic Development in the amount of $6,568.73, and we present that in the form of a motion.
I have a motion to approve the invoice for Arkansas Valley Alliance. Do I have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Items number 2 and 3 together, approval of the settlement for the eminent domain case regarding South Englewood with 12th Street Improvement Project in the amount of $3,700. And item number 3 is the appropriation in that amount, and we present that in the form of a motion.
I have a motion on the floor for items 2 and 3. Do I hear any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Items 4, 5, 6, and 6A have been tabled. Moving on to item number 7, consideration of a resolution expressing the willingness of the City of Russellville to utilize Federal Aid Transportation Alternatives Program funds for a multi-use trail system and for other purposes, and we present that in the form of a motion.
I have a motion for the resolution for funding and development of a multi-use trail. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, that's the last item on our agenda.
Thank you. Personnel Committee, no report. Mr.
No
Hurd.
report. We will be meeting next week, interview for financial director.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to the council agenda, old business. Item number 1 under old business is consideration of orders to rezone property located at 4029 South Arkansas from R2 to C2. This is the third and final reading of this particular ordinance.
Mayor, I move to suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read by title only with a short explanation.
Have a motion to suspend the rules, read by title only with a short explanation. Second? Mr. Keller?
Second.
I've got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance rezoning certain realty in the city of Russellville, Arkansas, and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would rezone property from R2 to C2 that is located at 4029 South Arkansas Avenue as further described in the legal description attached here too.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt. I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Brown. All in favor? So, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, a consideration of ordinance to amend certain provisions of the zoning code.
Motion to suspend the rules, read by title only with a short explanation, and this becomes the first reading.
Have a motion to suspend the rules, be read by title only for the third and final reading.
Actually,
First reading.
this becomes the first reading,
First
with
reading.
this ordinance having been modified from the last couple of readings.
What is that again?
We have a motion to read this ordinance, first reading, title, short explanation, title, first reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Keller. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance amending the zoning code for the city of Russellville, Arkansas, ordinance number 1966, and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would amend or remove certain provisions in Articles 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 13 in the current zoning code that would correct either certain language in Article 3 and would consolidate separate penalties within the zoning code into Section 8.4, so that 8.4 would apply to all of the zoning code and would better clarify the rezoning process found in Section 8, and would give better appeal procedures for under Article 9 under the Board of Adjustment, and would put a waiting period in for special use permit if it's denied, that's found in Article 6. This is the first, so, yeah, so there's no discussion. Because we're not. Sure.
I've looking through the list of individuals who wanted to speak, to sign up to speak tonight, and I have Mr. Phil Hutchinson who wanted to speak on item number 2, which we're covering now. Thank you. Okay. All right, item number 3, consideration of possible ordinance adopting the City of Russellville Oakland Cemetery Code for other purpose.
Motion to suspend the rules, dispense with a reading requirement, read the first of 3 readings by title only with a short explanation.
Suspend the rules. I have a motion to suspend the rules, first of 3 readings, by title only with a short explanation.
Motion.
Second, Ms. Hubbard, Ms. Griffin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance adopting the City of Russellville, Oakland Cemetery Code for the purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would consolidate the various ordinances currently in effect that apply to the City of Russellville, Oakland Cemetery, and also for this Cemetery Commission, consolidated into a code.
I have a rule of order question, Mr. Smith. I have a couple of items on this ordinance that I believe require some discussion and would require an amendment to this at some point. We just did, I hate to wait a month to revise this and then go back to the first reading. What, do I have a process that allows me to have that discussion on my comments?
Well, you can go ahead and, I mean, if you want to propose some changes that the council can make at that point.
Okay, in section 3.1.5, I would entertain a motion of discussion about no firearms shall be permitted within the cemetery except as worn by duly licensed law enforcement personnel. I believe in my discussion with Mr. Smith, this is a carryover from the previous ordinance. Given the new concealed carry issues and the open carry allowed in the state, I'm not sure that this is necessary, this provision is necessary in this new ordinance.
Motion.
A motion?
Motion.
Motion to strike that?
To strike that
Yes.
statement?
I'll second that.
Have a second? Any discussion on that motion?
Harris and Keller.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. In section 4.2.3, there's a disposition of fees. 4.2.1 is 20%, 4.2.2 is 80%, and 4.2.3 is 5%. However, it's from the sale of the mausoleum. It seems to be an incomplete sentence there. I'm not real sure exactly what 4.23 is trying to do there, Mr. Smith.
That is supposed to go to the trust for the maintenance and care of Oakland Cemetery.
Okay. So it begs the question, if this is for the mausoleum, crypt, lawn, and other similar entombment, where's the other 95% of that go?
It'll go into just the regular fund.
Okay, and that doesn't need to be spelled out then?
I can if you want. It's no, I was just putting in the state law at the time, and it only covered those 3 verbatim, but I can put the 95% in, even though it's not in the state law. It'll go to, I believe, Fund 24 as well.
And that's up to the will of the council on that issue.
I would prefer it spelled out like that. You need a motion to that effect?
So I have a
So
motion
moved.
to clarify the 5% and 95% in that particular sentence. Have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Keller. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, council, for consideration on
Mayor,
that issue.
can we add one more item to your discussion?
Certainly.
Section 2.2.3, I'm gonna guess that when this was originally written, we only had 2 funeral homes here in Russellville, and it was probably catered to that number. Does that need to be adjusted if our number of funeral homes has changed, or? Who picks?
It would be the council. I mean, it would be a typical mayor appoints council picks. Right now, there's nobody that's coming from any funeral home. It was to give them they're not members, well, they're ex officio members, meaning they have a voice, but they don't have a vote. It was to give them some type of voice in the cemetery commission.
So does the mayor or the council or the commission appoint those two spots?
It would be the mayor.
Because up above here, it says that the commission appoints as follows.
We're at,
2.2?
Says it shall be appointed as
shall be
follows.
appointed as follows.
Okay, and then confirmed by,
Yes.
if it's fine, it's fine. I just wanted to bring that up just in case since the number of funeral homes has changed.
You know, if it be expanded, but right now there's not been any demand by any of them to come to any of the meetings.
Are you satisfied, Mr. Chair?
Yes, thank you.
I have one item actually on that. I just noticed right above that where it says on 2.2.2, where it says, one council member shall be assigned to the commission as a non-voting liaison, and we have 2 council members assigned to the cemetery commission.
Right.
And they are voting members
True.
currently.
Currently, if you still want 2 members to be on the governing body, the problem, it seemed, is that the commission was big and not everybody showed up, and that this commission's always the last that's picked by the council to be on it, and so it seems as though there's a kind of a reluctance to even be there. And so maybe cut it down to 1 person as liaison would be something that the council wanted.
There's always been 2 on it.
Understand.
Yeah.
Mayor-
Before at one time there wasn't, way back when, but 2's been added. And like I said, it's always picked last.
What's the desire of the council on this item?
Mayor, I certainly would move to change or to strike that last portion of that first sentence where it says as a non-voting liaison, whether we choose to have 1 or 2 council members. I certainly would prefer that they remain voting liaisons on that committee.
Does he make that in form of a motion?
I do.
So I have a motion to strike out the last portion as a non-voting liaison. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any further discussion on the cemetery commission?
Yes. If this passes this evening, or whenever it passes, this is the first reading of this. So a few months from now, the second liaison that's currently on that committee, I assume will continue to fill their term until the end of the year. Is that correct?
Yes, they can stay on till the end.
Okay. Okay.
That's approved. All right. Any other discussion? Okay. That concludes item number 3 of unfinished old business. Item number 4, consideration of possible resolution establishing the fees and costs for the Russellville Oakland Cemetery.
Really, until 3's passed, 4's kind of just waiting to be passed right after 3.
Do I hear a motion to table?
Motion to
resolution
table,
number 3?
item number 4.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to table. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5 is a redundant item number 2.
Yes.
So we'll strike that. Item number 6 is consideration of an ordinance authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to partner with Arkansas Tech on the Highway 7 project, or in the alternative, well, this, I guess, it's the same issue we discussed earlier, isn't it? But we do have, the alternative really is to not partner with partner with Tech and do the improvements on our own in relation to this project. So we have, we do have an ordinance that's drafted for this if we decide to partner with Arkansas Tech. Or the city can decide to go it alone or not do the project at all.
Mayor, if we do item number 6A, it being an ordinance would require multiple readings. 6B is resolution, and we could pass that this evening, is that correct?
We have considered item number 6 for approximately 2 or 3 months.
Correct.
I believe it would be appropriate for the council to do a single reading and pass this, but again, that's up to the council as they want to proceed on that.
Well, it's written here in 6B that it's a consideration of a resolution.
And that would certainly only
Yeah.
require, for that, if we decide to go with 6B, we would need a resolution, which I don't believe we have at this time.
Okay.
So that's correct. But if we decide to go with 6A, again, it's up to the council, but we've discussed this several months in a row. I believe it would be appropriate to move forward on it.
We do have in front of us the resolution for 6B.
No.
Right,
Oh, is it in there as well?
that's right underneath it.
Yeah.
Look under six. There it goes. No, you got it.
Okay, my apologies.
Yeah. Then I move for the approval of item number 6B.
I have a motion for item number 6B, which would be for Russellville the city of Russellville to partner with ATU without partnering with the Arkansas Highway Department or Arkansas Department of Transportation on this project. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second.
So you're saying in the motion that we would just go it alone?
That
And
is the
we would-
motion that's on the floor, yes, sir.
And we would not take in the highway up on Skyline?
Correct.
That's correct. I will offer that the RDOT has offered to act as construction manager on this project if we decide, even if we decide not to partner with them on the overall project. However, that's up to the discretion of the city and the council. Any other discussion on item 6?
We're in discussion for this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How much, just refresh my memory, how much was item 6B going to cost as opposed to item 6A? Was it $1.5 million more, or was it 2? I can't remember.
That information is available in the finance packet. There is, we're looking at about, depending on which option we ultimately choose, whether Tech opts to go with the roundabout or we opt to go with the standard intersection, which is widening. You're looking at about $3.8 million to 2.5 to $3.8 million, roughly. You know, how many of those numbers?
Okay, so we're looking at,
That's for us to pay for it.
that's for us to pay for, and that's not partnering with RDOT at all, and not, so that's going to be an extra $1.5 million? Is that what that was? Is that correct?
Roughly.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, it will actually be a little more than that because RDOT was willing to pick up most of the, all of the construction costs for this total project. We just had to do the design and the utility relocation. They would pick up the rest cost, but the
Okay.
cost to the city would have been for us to take over Skyline.
after the repaving and
That's
the
right.
widening and where they're able to, and so on and so forth?
That's correct.
Okay. I'll say the same thing I said the other night. I don't believe that it is in the city's best interest to pay an extra $1.5+ million and go it alone as opposed to partnering with RDOT and saving the citizens that money.
I concur and agree with Mr. Keller.
Any other discussion before we take this to the vote?
But in return for that, with the highway department, we're gonna have to still take in the roughly 4 miles of highway, correct?
No, sir. The highway department will, if we go it alone,
No, with the highway department.
with the highway department.
With the
we
highway
have to
We're
take
still
that on,
taking
yes.
in-
That would be part of the
Yes.
agreement.
Okay.
That's correct.
What's on the table is to leave Highway 326, which is part of Marina Road and part of Skyline, as is, as a state highway.
Correct.
So we're not accepting the forever maintenance of that roadway. That's the motion and second on the
That's the
table
motion.
now.
Sure.
Okay, all in favor of item 6 Bravo, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Westcott?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
No.
Mr. Keller?
No.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Harold?
No.
Ms. Caruth? Yes. Mr. Brown?
No.
You have a tie.
We have a full tie, no?
Yes, we do. It's you.
I believe that it's in the best interest of the city to partner with RDOT on this project, so I will cast a yes vote.
Wrong direction.
Wait, what?
You're confused.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I will cast a no vote.
No vote, yeah.
I will, let me back up here. I will not cast any vote, and the motion fails due to lack of 5 affirmation. Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for passage tonight for item 6.
Say that again.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement to pass item 6 tonight.
Item 6 alpha.
Yes.
All right, I have a motion to pass item 6 alpha, which is an ordinance to partner with the RDOT on this project, reading one time only for passage. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do I have a second?
Second.
You got a second from Mr. Harrell? Any discussion? All,
This is an ordinance, is that correct?
that's correct.
He needs to suspend the rules first.
That's what we're voting on right now, is to suspend the rules.
We have a motion to suspend the rules. And a second. All in favor, say suspending rules and reading one time only, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Clarification, it's for passage tonight, so it's
Well,
one time.
yes, we will, for pass, we'll have that motion second. Okay, all opposed? Okay, the motion is approved.
An ordinance authorized the mayor, city clerk, treasurer to sign all necessary documents to partner with Arkansas Tech University and the Arkansas State Highway Commission for improvements to State Highway 7 adjacent to Arkansas Tech University, accepting portions of Highway 326, Section 1 between Highway 64 and Highway 7 to the city street system for the city of Russellville, Arkansas, from the Arkansas State Highway Commission once conditions are met and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would partner with ATU and also the RDOT to accept Highway 326 once there is a widening and enhancing of a drainage system, and would create additional entrance into ATU, would also work on the drainage at Highway 7 by ATU.
Make a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from
Brown.
Mr. Brown. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Mr. Westcott?
Motion carries. That completes old business. Moving on to new business, item number 1. Consideration of a resolution for special use permit for an adaptive reuse of the existing Kmart building. As a proposal fee of uses consist of self-storage, U-Haul truck, and trailer share, and related retail sales.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Keller. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Who said that?
Me.
Okay.
Motion carries.
So I voted no.
Item number 2. Consideration of resolution to set a public hearing to close part of South Independence.
Motion to approve?
Have a motion to approve. Second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Brown. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, consideration of a resolution for special use permit to operate a medical marijuana dispensary in a C2 for property located at 3506 South Arkansas Avenue.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I didn't hear who that motion came from.
That came from Mr. Westcott.
Mr. Westcott, Mr. Brown.
And Mr. Brown. Discussion.
Yes.
You have the floor. Oh, any discussion? No discussion. I do have a few citizens who signed up to speak. Several people have signed to speak, but I do not know which issue you've signed to speak for. So I'm going to call your name, and I just want you to tell me if you're here to talk about item 3 or what item you're here to talk about so I can get this on record so we can move through. Rachel Campbell. I'm sorry? Okay. Sharon Tucker. See, Hall. Just noticed these are yours. It's too big. It's done, right?
Yeah.
Robert Edward. Yes, sir. Jim Harton. May Gilbert. Michelle Watson. Joanne Rankin. Whitney Ransom. Jim Rankin. I'm sorry. Don Jackmore.
It's not listed.
Eddie Rude. Okay. So I'm giving for those who want to speak on this issue before we go to vote, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Gina will time you and let me know, keep us honest here. And I will open the floor to Mr. John Peel.
These are mock-ups of the site plan.
He has to get on the,
Can I get you to go to the mic, Mr.?
Yes, sir. These are mock-ups of the site plan and the security plan for the building. You're welcome to look at them. You're welcome to come up first. My name is John Peel, and I represent 420RX Inc. Good evening, and thank you for your time and your service to our community. We're here on a request for special use permit for a pharmacy/dispensary in a C2 zoned area adjacent to an M1 zoned area at 3506 South Arkansas Avenue. I have tendered a package of documents to the clerk, copied it to the mayor and the city attorney. Most of you have already received a copy of them as well. They consist of 12 numbered items and several subsets that I intend to be designated as a part of the record of this proceeding tonight. They include the information about our facility, physician approvals, the ABC licensure, applicable Arkansas law, our special use permit, the notification to landowners, staff report, draft minutes from the Planning Commission, parking lot layout that cures the one condition of the Planning Commission approval, the transcript of our City Council agenda prep meeting, for which, by the way, if I've misattributed any statement, please feel free to correct me, and the draft resolution granting the special use permit. Quite simply, our permit request follows the approval by the state ABC, a division of the Department of Finance and Administration to the state of Arkansas, for a medical marijuana dispensary, as we have discussed. Our package was 400 plus pages, thoroughly vetted and approved in relation to security, lighting, building layout, and every measure thought applicable. It will continue to be monitored by the ABC, just like any other place that sells alcohol in our state. Of course, this licensure process is set up under and pursuant to the AMA of 2016, the Arkansas Medical Marijuana Act, which is not a regulation, it is not a statute, it is embedded in our state constitution. It is a constitutional provision, just like the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness at this point. It is the law, and if someone is telling you otherwise, they are making a legally inaccurate statement to you.
53% of our populace voted for it, some 685,000 people. Fewer than 516,000 voted against it, a margin of victory of approximately 170,000 people. It is the law, and we can try to delude ourselves to the contrary, but I'm not going to reiterate the congressional amendments, the DOJ rulings, the fact that our own state Supreme Court put this on the ballot and reviewed it at that time, the fact that it's a part of our zoning code since 2007, the fact that 33 or 32 other states have already adopted similar laws, and some of them have been in place for over 10 years. It is the law. So applying this law and theoretically voting to uphold our oath that was given when we took our offices, we will theoretically consider only the zoning issues. 1 minute left?
No, your time. Your time's up.
Do I have 3 minutes? The rules said 5, and I'll do whatever I need to do.
We said 3 minutes. 3 coming up, so.
All right. I would request, the city council does have the right to afford me an extra 2 minutes, and I would request that.
Give him an extra 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Thank you. The enabling constitutional provision gives cities the right to make reasonable zoning conditions. The city planner adopted the only condition that he thought appropriate in this instance, specifically a parking change, which we made, and it's included in the packet. The city staff, our engineer, our public works director, our fire safety, all gave this a due pass. Our planning commission gave it a unanimous due pass. Not one neighbor or adjoining landowner objected to this process. No one appeared at either the initial staff review, planning commission, or the agenda prep meeting to speak out against this. It has been so far presented without any zoning concern of any type voiced to us at any time. If there is a zoning concern or any issue that the council has related to zoning and not related to the efficacy or value of medical marijuana, we are dying to hear it. If there is a preferred location in the city of Russellville that would be better served for this spot, anywhere in the city, we would be dying to know of it.
Thank you, Mr. Phil.
Thank you.
Rachel Campbell. And you're welcome to step to that mic that's right there. Yes.
Probably needs to adjust it
You may
down.
need to pull it down a little bit so you can, there you go. Can I get you
We can
closer
hear
to the
you.
mic, please?
Is it on?
Yeah, just put your mouth right up to it.
We have lived in this area all of our lives and have raised our families here. We are here today to speak out for all medical cannabis patients, including our precious baby girl, Maddie Campbell, who has suffered from epileptic seizures since the age of 18 months to now, and she's 9 years old. She was treated at Arkansas Children's Hospital with at least 10 different prescriptions during this period that did not stop her seizures. She needs cannabis oil to hopefully stop her seizures and heal her body. Because of the seizures, her brain hasn't been able to learn and function properly. This has caused Maddie to be mentally and physically challenged. Cancer, epilepsy, MS, Parkinson's, and PTSD are just a few of the illnesses that can be helped or cured with cannabis oil. This Russellville dispensary will absolutely be a life-saving facility which any one of us might need at any time. Our patients have waited and suffered too long. Please open your minds, open your hearts, and open this dispensary for all existing and future patients in our area. Thank you all.
Thank you. James, can you tell me if the speaker is working or not? You can hear it on TV, so we have power and we have sound going out to the community.
I can hear it on TV on
Can't hear.
Okay. I got it. The city clerk got a text that power was off, so I wanted to make sure. This is a pretty critical discussion. I don't want people at home to think that we've cut power so they can't hear what this discussion is. So we're good, right? Okay. All right. Sharon Tucker.
That's her. She was speaking.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Rachel. She was standing next to her.
Robert, no, it's a different issue. We've got Adam Harrison.
You don't want to talk? Oh, he is.
Yeah, I'll take the time to introduce myself. I'm Adam Harrison. I'm the owner of the dispensary permit. I myself think this is going to be something that's very beneficial to the city, to certain patients out there. We've been working at this for a long time. We've come across a lot of people that need this, and I don't want to throw her under the bus right now, but my mother being one of them. Part of the reason that we did this, we looked into it, and it's going to benefit her. But I just wanted to introduce myself. Y'all let y'all know who I am. So, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Jim Rankin.
My name is Jim Rankin. I am Adam's father-in-law, so I've worked with him on this project since the beginning in helping it get to the position that it is now. It is a good project. I think it will be a benefit not only to the people who need it, but it'll be a benefit to Russellville. I also want the council to know we're here for questions tonight. If you all have any other questions, I know we met at length last week, answered as many questions as we could, but if there are any other questions relating to the zoning, whether this is a good location for this product, for this dispensary, it falls under the exact same zoning as a pharmacy. So this location that we've chosen is good enough for a pharmacy. It is good enough for our product, because that's what the Constitution says, and that's what the state law says. We are to be treated just like a pharmacy. So if there is an issue with this location that would cause you to feel like a normal Walgreens, CVS, your normal pharmacy could not go in this location, then I please ask you to speak up and discuss it, because if there's not an issue with the Walgreens or CVS, there should not be an issue legally with our product and our dispensary going at this location. We have the engineer, we have our architecture firm, we have the lawyer who helped us file the initial product with the state of Arkansas in order to be able to apply for the license. We are all present. Please ask us any questions. We would love to be able to address them. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's all, everyone that signed up to discuss item number, there's a Lisa Dale, is that correct? No, okay. That concludes the public's addressing the council on this issue. Any other discussion by the council?
Mayor, I'd like to reaffirm my opposition to being located in Russellville, as I stated last week, but also just kind of reviewing the situation. Population of Arkansas is around 3 million. Pope County is about 68,000. Russell's about 28,000. As I understand, there's only 12,000 cards that's been issued. And if you just divided that up over the state, 75 counties, it's only 160. And in Russellville, if we looked at 160 in Pope County and broke it down to our populations, that's less than 1% that we're being asked to change our community, regardless of the legality of it, but just the fact that we as the watchkeepers of Russellville, I don't believe that we should change everything about Russellville for 160 people, which is just an average count of how many would be served. Now, mind you, people will come from all over, but our job is to protect and do the best we can for the city of Russellville. And I don't believe that the medical marijuana is advantageous to the city of Russellville. And I respect Mr. Rankin, Mr. Harrison's attempt to locate it in Russellville. They're certainly welcome to locate it anywhere they want, but we're also within our rights to say no. And it's my firm position to say no to this project.
Thank you.
Mayor Harris, I do recognize that this is a sensitive and emotion-filled topic that we're talking about tonight. The question of the morality or lack thereof regarding the medical use of marijuana can be successfully argued by both sides. But unfortunately, that portion of the equation has been decided further up the chain of command and is not in front of us tonight for debate. If my understanding is correct, and I think it is, that we as the deciders of this issue tonight should respond to this request as we would any other state-approved and licensed pharmacy. If Walgreens or CVS or Newton's Pharmacy had put in a request for a special use permit for that particular location, I doubt there would have been very many questions at all posed to those particular groups. In fact, we would more than likely approve it wholeheartedly, attend to their ribbon cutting, and say, thank you, Mr. Walgreens, for coming to Russellville. If I am obligated to treat this particular dispensary as I would any other pharmacy, regardless of my morals, I see no choice but to approve this request.
Thank you, Mr. Westcott. Any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor, going through the facts, the people voted this in the state in 2016. It won 53-47 in the state. It won in Russellville. Russellville itself voted in favor of it, 51-49. It was one of 17 states. Now it's one of 33. The Planning Commission and all the other bodies leading up to this point have voted, if not unanimous, really close. The state law, as Mr. Westcott was saying, requires us, mandates us to treat this as a retail pharmacy, like he was saying. There are 0 zoning concerns, which is what we are to be voting on tonight. And to top all of that off, we will be sued by them because we are not treating this the way it's supposed to be treated. So in turn, it's going to cost us money as well. So along with the cost of that lawsuit, of it going into the county, or you could say Weir Road, because that's the county. I wouldn't call that the county, but that is legally. The city police can police it better than the county. I mean, this vote was made in 2016, and again, there's no reason to turn this away for any zoning purposes.
Thank you, Mr. Olson. Any other discussion?
I do just want to say that I completely and totally agree with what Mr. Olson and Mr. Westcott have said about this. And just to comment on what Mr. Harrell said, if you just look at the numbers that you have for saying there's 160 people in Russellville, you average it out saying that they would benefit from this, I think that it behooves us to remember that we're talking about sick people. I think it's something that we need to remember, that we are talking about people who have gone to their medical doctor and have been told that this is something that can help them. And if you've never met someone who could, who's afflicted by one of these diseases or afflictions that is on the list, then you're a very lucky individual. But if you've met someone who suffers and this is a chance to help them end that suffering, I think that's, in my opinion, that's where the morality of this issue comes down to. And I got no problem going on the record saying that.
Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the resolution for special use permit, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
City Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Westcott,
Yes.
Mr. Tripp,
No.
Mr. Olson,
Yes.
Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
No.
Mr. Harold,
No.
Ms. Caruth,
No.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Surprise, surprise.
There you go.
There you go. So I'm an engineer. And as an engineer, I like to look at the facts, remove the emotion, and look at the facts. And so when I look at the facts, there's one thing that's a guiding principle for me, and that is, does this violate my core beliefs and my biblical principles? And the answer to that is, this issue does not do that. My Bible does not say anything about medical marijuana and whether I should oppose it. So that's the litmus test that I use to first go forward. In this case, the litmus test has been passed, and there is I have no religious or core belief issues with this that would prohibit me from approving it. So the next thing that I have to do is I have to look at the facts, and the facts are that the amendment, although it does not prohibit a city, incorporated town, or county from this state from enacting reasonable zoning regulations applicable to dispensaries or cultivation facilities, provided that those zoning regulations are the same as those for a licensed retail pharmacy. Russellville, Arkansas meets that criteria. Section B says this section does not allow a city, incorporated town, or county to prohibit the operation of any dispensaries or cultivation facilities in the city, incorporated town, or county unless such a prohibition is approved at an election under Article 5 of this Constitution. So by law, we are not allowed to discriminate against medical marijuana facilities. The other thing that I consider is, what does the people of Russellville say? I contacted the county clerk earlier this week and asked, what did the people of Russellville say? The people of Russellville voted for the amendment, 4,255 against 4,183. Very close margin. 51 to 49, is that what you said? So the citizens of Russellville said this is what we want, although the margin was very, very tight. The other thing that I looked at was, what does this do from a law enforcement perspective? And as I talked to officers in my own force, it became clear that in the city, we have the resources to better service, monitor, and control this area than if it were to go into the county. The other thing that I asked myself is, if we deny this permit, what happens? And this is not a go, no-go. If we deny this permit, the medical marijuana dispensary is not going away. It's just going to move to another location. What that means to the citizens of Russellville is, rather than having a 10-minute drive to go get the medical marijuana that you're looking for, you would have a 20, 25-minute drive to that location. Because it's going to be somewhere in the area. But I can tell you with all honesty that I'm opposed to medical marijuana in our community. So I'm conflicted. The engineering side of me says that it makes sense, and by law we have to approve this. But my value system says it's not good for our community, it's not good for our state, it's not good for our nation.
Yeah.
I say all this so that you understand where I come from as I say my next sentence. And I know that there will be a lot of conflict in this community based upon what I say next. And I ask that you at least consider the challenges that we have in making the decision for the city. As your mayor, I will not cast a vote on this issue because it's so divided. And I will let the council make this decision. Therefore, this amendment this special use permit will not be permitted because it did not get the 5 affirmation votes that's needed. Next item. Item number 4, consideration of resolution for a special use permit for an automobile maintenance and mechanical repair in a C2.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve, second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, consideration of a resolution for a special use permit to operate a jet ski and boat repair in a C2.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion or a second?
Second.
Have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any discussion on this?
Just that the concerns about the jet skis and what have you being stored outside and whatnot, all that has been addressed in this resolution, the things that we had talked about at our last meeting.
Okay. I do have someone here to speak to that. Right, you were going to bring to the council information relating to conditions for approval.
I wasn't sure if you guys have already got these for the offices, but we go ahead and mark them. These are the agreements we had with the county commission.
Thank you.
It's okay. Turn around upside down.
I have one.
I have one. Thank you.
We have the conditions that was presented to the planning commission. Does the council have any thoughts on this issue? Any motions you'd like to make?
Well, I made the
to
motion.
approve With these items included.
That was my motion to
Okay,
approve it
have a
because
motion
those are
and a second.
included in
A motion
the.
and a second?
No, I made the motion.
That motion and a second. Is that acceptable? Okay.
Can I-
All right, any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Mayor, can we just verify that you guys know that sometime in the hopefully near future, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, that this property is going to be involved in a Corps of Engineer project, right?
We are aware that we have a contingency plan.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I have it.
Anything else? Okay. Hearing no other discussions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, consideration of possible resolution authorizing the removal of dilapidated structure within the city of Russellville located at 1301 South Glenwood. We have some new information on this you'd like to present, Mr. Holstein? I don't know if that mic is working or not. Can you use this mic up here, Ms. Holstein?
It's not.
Yes, Mayor, this particular location has been bought by an individual that's actually a city council tonight, and I would like for him to speak on this, just to let the city council know how rapidly he expects to take care of this issue and move
Why
forward.
don't you go ahead and fill the city council in on this new information, and then we'll allow this gentleman
Okay,
to speak.
basically, this came before the council for a dilapidated structure, and what we're here tonight, we're here tonight to vote on raising the building or not. The reason why I'm delaying this, asking you to delay this, is because of the new information on this was basically, we have a real estate agent that had gotten with Eddie Rude, and Eddie has decided to buy this location. And I actually have the documentation. This is not verbal, but it's actually documentation. And in the documentation, it basically states that the agreement to close on this property will be May the 30th, 2019.
Thank you. Now, but, let me just ask the council, given that this property is going to be sold, and the new owner, I guess, is going to take care of the issue by tearing the structure down, is that correct?
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Does the council want to move on this tonight, or would you rather proceed?
I would move to table this item,
Second.
keep it on the agenda for next time, but table this for this
I have a
evening.
motion to table. Second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Brown. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Item number 7, discussion, consideration of a possible ordinance for zoning short-term rentals. I'd ask the council at the agenda prep meeting to provide me their input on what they would like to see for short-term rentals. I've received input from 5 or 6 of the council members, and and I also included myself. There were 2 individuals who provided information that said they would prohibit short-term rentals in any R1 zone, but have a discussion in other zones. I also, but the remainder of the council that provided input indicated that there should be some restriction. They should be allowed, but with restrictions. Given that information, what is the will of the council going forward?
Mayor, if I'm not mistaken, at the last time we met, and it was, we were directed to present our request to you, I believe it was with the understanding that we would table this for this evening to have time for you to compile what you received from the members of the council and get that out to us, that we could look over what everyone else was thinking and then come back to that at a very soon later date to discuss that in more detail. Is that correct?
Well, that is correct. I have not received information from all council members, and I'm not sure that I will receive information from all council members. It may be more appropriate to have a verbal discussion, a special call meeting to sit down and hash this out, given the information that, at least if you haven't provided me anything in writing, surely you've looked and came up with at least some opinions that we can use for dialogue.
Well, that's my motion then, is to table item number 7 to a special call meeting in the very, very near future at your discretion.
Mr. Westcott, would you entertain an amendment to that to be a consecutive weekly meeting until we get resolution of a vote one way or the other to resolve
Certainly,
this?
certainly.
So we don't keep kicking it down the road months and months and months?
Certainly. But
So-
as far as discussion this evening, we would be here for countless hours to come to some consensus. So my motion is to table this to a very soon special call meeting and successive weekly meetings thereafter.
Second.
Have a motion, second, any discussion? I will add to the council that I will be out of office for 3 days next week, so if we want to have a meeting, about the only night that I'll be available will be Thursday. So, look at your schedule.
Not be Thursday.
Okay. It's going to be hard to get everyone together. We can have
Could we set it for Tuesday, the night after the Memorial Day, and just set it every Tuesday until we get it
Okay.
resolved?
I can do that.
Yeah.
The
Tuesday
night
the
after
28th.
Memorial Day.
Tuesday, the 28th for our initial,
I don't need another meeting. Okay.
Tuesday, 28th.
okay.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to dismiss.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Meeting adjourned.
At 5:30 or 6, for the special call meeting, 5:30 or 6.